my name is Erica Thompson. I'm a third-year biology major at CSU. I'm eventually looking to become a nurse practitioner. I want to go into the medical field because I really do believe that when the physical and medical needs of a person are met, then that allows for deeper human connection. And that's the kind of human connection that I desire, and it's really my biggest goal in life. So in this class, my final report is a feasibility report to improve healthcare in developing countries. Specifically, this would be through the implementation of training and educational programs for informal healthcare providers in developing countries. And I'll go into what some of that means in this speech. So living in the United States today, it's hard to imagine the possibility of there being an ongoing healthcare crisis around the world. Unfortunately, this is the case. And this healthcare crisis is seen most prominently in developing countries and within the poor and remote communities. And worst of all, there is a huge shortage of formal healthcare providers and medical personnel. And so informal healthcare providers have had to step in to try to meet the medical needs of the people who need it. And these informal healthcare providers, they need better training and support to be able to actually meet the needs of the people that they're trying to treat. So I hope that this presentation gives you the information and the insight so that you as a future healthcare professional have some vision and some inspiration for how you can help in this current healthcare crisis. So to give you some information on what is currently going on, in developing countries, diseases and malnutrition are the top contributors to death. HIV and AIDS are devastating, along with mutating and ever-changing forms of influenza, malaria, and pneumonia. And proper medical attention is not available to the extent that it really needs to be. There's a huge shortage of medical personnel, hospitals, medical schools, and supplies. And as time goes on, these healthcare needs are always changing and evolving, and so intervention now is necessary, and the importance and the seriousness of this issue cannot be overstated. So who are these informal healthcare providers that I'm talking about? It's a loosely defined term, but they are people who are not trained in a medical school or government institution, but they do have some sort of skill set or knowledge to be able to treat people on some sort of medical basis. And their skill sets vary because they aren't from a formal medical school. These informal providers are a lot of the time more cost effective, so they're more cost effective for the patient. They're oftentimes more convenient for the patient to get to because they're not stuck in a hospital. And a lot of the time they're actually more culturally appropriate because they know a lot of the people personally. And so informal providers are really important in a community, but they don't quite have the medical skill sets that they really need to be able to treat people. So tying all of these ideas together, in my final report, I explored the possibility of rerouting and allocating funds from the organization Doctors Without Borders so that they would have more training and educational programs for informal healthcare providers rather than just providing healthcare and medical care from doctors from developed countries. However, they're not the organization that has the ability to do this. The most exciting part about this plan is the ability for each and every individual healthcare provider and medical professional to be able to contribute to the healthcare crisis. There are so many nonprofit organizations that are able and willing to help in this capacity. And as future healthcare professionals in a developed country such as the United States, we have such a high quality education, and we probably have the financial resources to be able to help the training of informal healthcare providers in developing countries, at least for a short amount of time. It really doesn't take that much time for us to transfer at least some of our knowledge and our skills to people in developing countries who really need it to treat their own people. So I'd like to thank you so much for taking your time to listen to some of the information on the current healthcare crisis surrounding developing countries. And I really hope that this gives you some insight and some vision for how you can play a part in improving healthcare in developing countries in the same way that has inspired me to want to someday be able to help in that capacity. as future healthcare professionals, if each and every one of us even did a little bit in this effort, we could have a huge and sustainable impact on improving healthcare. And it's pretty cliche, but I think Gandhi puts it best when he said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." Thank you.